Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us.
Hi everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Navin Patel, a seasoned talent acquisition expert with over 20 years of experience in various leadership roles with the talent acquisition domain. He holds his expertise in TA Ops, talent sourcing, recruitment delivery, strategizing staffing plans with the leadership to fulfill talent requirements in the latest cutting edge digital skills and technologies. Naveen has worked in senior capacities at AVP Talent Acquisition at Accenture, Brilio, Mindtree, and presently working as Global Talent Acquisition Head at Affine. We welcome you to this expert interview series, sir, and seek your guidance to learn more about this field.
Right. So my management style is basically focused on creating a collaborative and supportive environment, right? Because the team members have to be empowered to do their best. So I ensure that I give them a particular platform, or give them a particular forum where they can operate freely, and I also ensure that I'm more of an enabler to them than a manager, right? And that's how I connect with them, helping them improve their job, helping them resolve, helping them think better. That's where I bring in a difference about to manage a team, and then wherever there are challenges, I always guide them or teach them how to do it. But that's how they will learn. Because if I give them solutions directly, that's when their thinking ability will not improve. So I look at how to make them think, make them do mistakes if required, but at the same time learning. So giving them and I don't do micromanaging, because I believe that the team members are capable of performing their jobs. The only help they require is in terms of improving their skill sets, or probably improving some relationship building with the hiring managers. To ensure that I give them enough cover to manage, enough support, and I also have a daily stand-up call with the team to ensure that I'm available with them. Right. So I think when you lead from the front, when you lead by examples, when you're there for the team, I think that's where it helps in improving their performance. And then you're able to make them more productive. I think that's the kind of environment that any of the team members would like to work, and I think that's something which is working out for me, and it has worked out for me in the past as well. And that's the kind of relationship that I build with the team, and then they're also ready to go that extra mile whenever required, because they understand the entire context, and I be very transparent, right, with whatever it is. So that helps them in building the trust in whatever I do, and then also that alignment with the goals and missions of the company are done. So obviously this happens, by sitting with the stakeholders, sitting with the management, trying to understand, what are their priorities, right? So once we know what are the priorities, which direction we are moving in, there's also annual planning that takes place where we figure out which direction we want to move in, because the technologies and skills are rapidly changing. So it becomes very important to ensure that we are aligned, as a talent management function, aligned with the company's goals or visions for the coming year. And that's where we have the particular planning meet, and then we also look at what kind of talent we have existing in our in our company, and what kind of skills do they have, what kind of proficiency do they have, what is the kind of upskilling, reskilling that would be required, what are the kind of skills that we need to acquire newly from the market, right? So we look at complete analysis of what is that we would want to have at Affine, and that's how we do the planning, and it's a continuous exercise. It's not that we just connect once starting of the year and things are on its own, right? So we keep connecting quite often to ensure that we are being more agile to business needs. That could be a change in the skill or technology. So example, if we were looking at AWS or Azure as a cloud skill, but because Google Cloud Platform is something that is quite new, so that is something that we're trying to focus on and ensure that we're able to build capability around that particular skill set. And then obviously reskilling, upskilling is a continuous exercise at a fine. So we ensure that there's a fungibility created, with the employees that we have, and also they are also learning new skill set, new technologies, and are more relevant, to current market needs. So here we try to address the needs based on the business, right? What is that kind of urgency they have? There are times where we have to, attract talent from outside, where the need is quite urgent. The other thing that we do is, in terms of, like I said, in the previous question, in terms of reskilling, upskilling, right? So we ensure that we are able to reskill, or upskill our existing employees that are there. We look at different avenues in which we are able to attract talent, right? Sometimes we even go to some of the edtech firms who are, giving us some trained candidates, right? They are trained for 8 months, 9 months, or even 12 months, right? So that helps us in getting someone who's, theoretically strong, and they just need that exposure of, certain projects. So we even look at that kind of a pool. We also look at a certain amount of pool that's coming from our the campuses, right? So we have a mixed blend. So we accelerate based on the need of the business. So sometimes hiring them from campus, edtech firms, or even from the different job portals that are there. So that's constantly our focus in terms of being able to ensure that we are able to get talent with respect to a particular skill. So I think the first most important skill right now I would say is communication skills. Right. When I say communication skill is not only ability to communicate, but also ability to communicate with various people. Right. You can have candidates, you can have stakeholders, you'll have hiring managers, business partners. Right. So you should be able to communicate to them. You should be able to influence them. You should be able to negotiate well with them. Right. So this is very important for any recruiter, because if you're not able to communicate, articulate, and communicate on time, it's definitely going to hamper your work. I think communication skill is something that people have to really learn, or really be able to focus on, because I think it's important in all the roles, but obviously in talent acquisition it's more important, because you're juggling between a lot of different stakeholders. And
Uh,
then the other part is being strategic, right? Gone are the days when we used to get the candidates plenty on our inboxes, right? Or when you're searching for a particular job, you used to get a lot of candidates there. But now it's a candidates market, right? So there are a lot of candidates. Difficult to attract them because there are a lot of candidates who are probably no shoes on the day of joining or on the interviews, which I've never heard of before. So we have to always strategically think how to attract them, which are the portals that they're available, how do we source them. There are different techniques in which people can source. There are people who can also go to Instagram, Twitter, GitHub, Stack Overflow, hire from so many other channels, right? Versus just a couple of job portals in the past, right? So I think they have to be very smart here in terms of being able to source. Plus, they have to also think from a business standpoint, right? So earlier, I could just get any candidate at the door, but now I think partnering with the business has become very important to align ourselves with the business needs. What kind of resource they want, what is the urgency, which is a priority, what is the flex that we can get. I think that something will help us in collaborating and working better. So I think that strategic thinking it's going to be another key skill, and obviously adaptability to the changing market conditions, right? The candidate sometimes, example, I have made an offer to a particular person, and the person declines an offer, right? So I should be able to adapt and probably get another backup offer, someone who can join faster, right? So I think that's another skill that will be required as a recruiter. And then you juggle between a lot of priorities. Sometimes you might have urgent new requirement that comes up, right? So how do you change to that? How do you adapt to that? I think that's another skill that a recruiter should be aware of. The other important skill is with respect to relationship building. So building relationship with the candidates, stakeholders, business constantly. That is something which is very important, right? Because when you build a relationship with a candidate, you know whether the candidate joining, not joining, your ability to influence them to join, it's higher. And with respect to business partners, hiring managers, when you have that constant communication relationship built with them, the chances of escalations are less, and the collaboration and output is higher. So that's where uh, you know the business partners are able to reach out to recruiters, and recruiters are able to build that trust into the business partners and get that particular. So, example, if I have to get a interview slot for a candidate, maybe today or tomorrow at a very short notice. So if I have that relationship built with a particular interview panel, then I'll be able to get that particular slot, request them and get that thing done. right? So that relationship will definitely take them a long way. And also there are different stakeholders in the system, right? It can be finance team, it can be the HR business partner, IT team, right? There are times that you end up maybe requesting them for ad hoc requests, right? So this sometimes helps you in getting things done at a short notice. I think that's something which the recruiters will have to constantly focus on. And the other fifth skill is that they should be having us with respect to data, right? When I say data, it's not just about data with respect to hiring in terms of the hiring trend pattern, everything, but also data in terms of what is the market, right? What is the kind of pool available, right? What are the kind of skills available? What is the range of experiences available? What is the kind of salary parity the candidates are available at, right? So they have to be on top of all these things to be able to advise back to the business, right? So there was time when people are calling people advisor or HR advisor. So similarly, talent acquisition team has moved into a talent advisory role, where it's not our job to just dump candidates to the business, right? But also collaborating and telling them, or helping them in making informed decision, saying that what is right, what is wrong, what is doable, what is not doable, right? As a practice, we always ensure that, because business will just say that I need these five skills, but they do not know how many people are available, and sometimes they ask for a particular years of experience. For example, to give you an example, there's a particular requirement saying that they need someone with Azure Databricks 7+ years of experience. uh, you know but when I did some research and figured out that that Azure Databricks is not more than 5 years old in the industry, so how can you even get candidates with 7 years when something was not even there, right? And then obviously when something just 5 years old, you do not expect a lot of people to adapt or adopt that particular new skill, at the starting itself, right? Because it takes some time, at least a year or two, before people start, adopting a new skill technology and enhancing their skill, right? So we told them saying that, 7 years definitely not doable. 5 years, it could be only a handful of people and it could be very expensive in the market. But 3+ definitely we will be able to give more people. So you tell us what is that you would want, and that way you're very upfront clear rather than whiling away time and not able to close that requirement upfront. You're giving them information about what's going to be fulfillable from our end. So I think that builds trust. That also helps us in taking decisions faster, saying that what is that we need to do, can we work on this, can we work on some alternate skills, and help business fulfilling the requirement. So there are multiple ways in which I do that. One is obviously connecting with your stakeholders. In terms of, like I said, we have the planning meet, and then we also have our weekly, review discussions with our stakeholders. So that's where we get to know about the way industry is moving, the kind of new technologies that's come in. We also have certain sessions, with the recruiters on the new skills, right, to ensure that they are aware of what are the skills that they need to hire for, and they understand at least a basic level, so that at least they can ask, basic questions to the candidates in terms of in screening them, or in certain technology or certain project that they've worked on, to figure out if they're a particular fit, and they need to understand the technology stack a little better. So I think that is how we learn, in terms of interacting with the stakeholders. And apart from that, I'm also a part of different, industry forums, industry groups, where I keep participating in different conferences, webinars, to stay abreast with the new changes in the market, how they're shaping up, right? So that also helps us in we're able to follow the latest industry trends, and then also there are a lot of articles which are there on LinkedIn, and I'm also part of a lot of groups which are related to data analytics, because my particular role or companies into data analytics. So I also look at follow those kind of pattern trend, and there are also center of excellence that we have at Affine, right? So there are specialized COEs for say analytical engineering or AI/ML or manufacturing industry or gaming industry, right? So they keep publishing certain articles, within the fine itself. So that way we get to know about what's happening in the industry, right? Which way they're trending, and being part of those discussions gives us more insights about the different technologies that are there in the market now. So that's how I'm able to follow them and get more information. So people who want to build a career in talent acquisition has to have passion for recruiting, because if you don't have passion for it, you will not enjoy it, because It's a job which will excite you if you like talking to people, if you like negotiating, if you like juggling between multiple tasks, right? Doing multitasking. Someone who's enjoying numbers, someone who enjoys helping some candidate get a job, someone who enjoys getting someone on board, right? So there are different things that are there in a TA role, right? So if you don't have passion for recruiting, don't have passion for constantly learning, improvising, adapting to the changes, or being able to manage pressures, then TA is not for that particular person, right? So we have to be very clear about the person who is there in TA. So example, if I hire a particular person for talent acquisition team, I ensure that they are passionate about recruiting and very clearly why they want to get into recruiting, not just because they want to do something in HR, because the core HR is slightly different from the TA. TA is more like a sales job, right? So where you might have misses, where you might have success, where you have to plan, where you have to collaborate with a lot of stakeholders. So my advice would be them to first figure out if it really excites them, right? Because they have to do example sourcing, screening, interview scheduling. They have to candidate experience management throughout the process. They have to understand business. They have to get slightly technical in terms of understanding the technology skills, the role that they are going to be working on. Right, so they have to, that's a long, life cycle, right? I would say, from the time I source a candidate till let a, onboard a candidate could be anywhere between 30 days to 90 days or even 100 days. So I have to constantly, be in touch with that particular candidate process, and also, work on the other requirements in parallel. So I think that is something which I would advise people to keep always learning new things. And it's a time when the recruiters have to be smart, where they have to collaborate, where they have to understand the business, why business is asking for a particular skill. So once you understand what is the need, then you can always advise them back. But if you're just order takers and just doing something on our own, that's where things could go wrong, or probably there'll be a gap. And that's the reason I advise my recruiters to always ensure that they get the business point of view correct, they understand the job description correct. There can be sometimes 10 or 15 different skills that are listed out in the job description, but which are the ones which are actually mandatory, which are the ones which are make or break for the particular requirement. The moment you get that particular skill set right, you'll be able to get the right set of candidates, and when you get the right set of candidates, automatically the interview conversion and overall quality will improve. So that's something which I ensure that it's getting fixed at the right at the starting, because sometimes you might end up getting some wrong hires or wrong candidates, and doesn't help anyone. You have lost time, you wasted your time, candidates time, business time. So it's always focus on quality, get things right the first time, and then keep improvising on your process, because it's a continuous learning cycle, right? Because how to negotiate, how to influence candidates, how to connect with them better, and then you have to always be approachable, reliable to the candidates and stakeholders, because sometimes you might get a call from candidates in the morning, sometimes in the evening, sometimes stakeholders will call you in the evening. I think recruiter has to be definitely very flexible. There are times when you have to even probably attend calls from candidates or business on a Saturday or a Sunday, because the candidate might be joining on a Monday and probably he's got some queries, or he wants to maybe get his laptop shipped to a different address, whatever it is, right? So as a recruiter, a person has to always be on some kind of a communication channel. So I think that will help them in becoming successful in their role. So one quotation is always keep learning, always keep improvising, because that's how you'll keep yourself active and stay motivated. The moment you stop learning, stop, your excitement in life is over, right? So I always would advise anyone, keep learning, keep improvising, keep seeing how things can be done differently, right? And at the end of the other thing which I always tell them is to try to find happiness, right? Because if you try to find happiness in whatever you're doing, I think your goal for life is it. You're enjoying something. When you're enjoying something, automatically leads to happiness. So I think constant learning, it's there for everyone, and especially in current market with so much of competition around you in the same industry, as a recruiter. And then what stands out between two different people, with so much of automation happening, so much of AI ML happening, that's what you bring to the table, right? And that's becoming more and more niche now, right? Earlier, probably I could do five things in recruiting. Probably that was the need of the market. But now there are so many recruiters who can do those five things. But what is that different thing that I can do, I can bring to the table is what will make the difference. And that's where the learning comes into picture, understanding the larger context of business or understanding the candidate's pattern or building relationships, become a little bit smarter in whatever you do. So when you learn, you become smarter. When you become smarter, you're being successful in your role, and when you're being successful in your role, you're happy end of the day.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us.